What's up, y'all? Welcome to Mimi's Life on Love and Word TV. Today, I am going to do my makeup and tell a Bible story. And the story that I'm going to tell today is Adam and Eve. I'm going to tell the story about the fall of man, okay? And I'm going to do my makeup at the same time. This is not a makeup tutorial. I'm just going to do my makeup and talk at the same time. We know in the beginning God created heaven and the earth, created everything, the whole 9 yards, the beasts, animals, like everything. He created everything in the beginning. Light, dark, all of that. He also created man. He created Adam first, and then the scripture says that he made man from out of the ground, and he blew the breath of a life in man, and man became a living soul. Now, because God breathed himself into man, man is immortal, and the soul belongs to God. All souls belong to God, and the soul cannot be destroyed, but it can surely die, and we're gonna get to that. God put man in the Garden of Eden, and he told man, Adam, which is Adam, he told Adam, he till the ground, take care of animals, name everything, you know, like all of that. That's what he told Adam to do. And he also told Adam, he said, of every tree you can eat thereof. And you know, in the garden, there were 2 special trees. The first special tree was the tree of life. And the second special tree was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So he told Adam, of every tree you can eat, but you cannot eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And Adam knows this, and he told him the reason why. Like, if you eat this tree, you're gonna die. You shall surely die. Surely, certainly, you're like certainly, for sure, you're gonna die. So God saw Adam taking care of all the beasts, and the beasts had female and male. They had their mates and stuff, but Adam didn't. So God was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give Adam a gift. So I'm gonna give him a woman. I'm gonna give him a gift. So let me put him to sleep, because I'm gonna make this gift from out of him. So I put Adam to sleep, and he took one of Adam's ribs. And yes, God is also a doctor. He's a surgical doctor. He took one of Adam's ribs, and he made Adam a helpmeet. And then woke Adam up, presented him with this woman, with this gift. And Adam called her woman, because she came from out of his bone of my bone. There was a serpent. Now, it's crazy to me that it's not surprising to Eve that she's talking to a serpent. Like, this serpent is talking. Like, I know if I saw a serpent talking, I'm getting out of there, okay? This serpent said to her, did God say that you can eat of every tree of the garden? And Eve was like, oh yeah, we can eat of every tree of the garden except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For the day we eat of that tree, we shall surely die. So the serpent's like, You ain't gonna surely die. God even knows that the day you eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that you will be like gods. And Eve just thought to herself, maybe like gods. It means I'm gonna be wise. So she looked at that fruit and she saw it to be good to her eyes. Like it just looked good to her now. All of a sudden, she's seen this fruit before, she's seen this tree before, but all of a sudden, now this tree looks so good and juicy and delicious, and now this tree looks like it's good to eat, even though God said that it is not. So she said, oh my God, well, if we're gonna be like gods, if we're gonna be wise, why not just take a little nibble? Like what's a little bite gonna do? And so Eve took a little bite. Now, it didn't say this, but when I read this story, I just imagine Eve eating this fruit. And I imagine her just seeing that nothing happened when she ate the fruit. And since nothing happened, she decided to also give it to her husband. It didn't say that's what she thought, but that's what I think. The story of Adam and Eve is not very, it's not very detailed. Like there's a lot of things that leaves us to like speculate. There's a lot of information missing. It's like, how long did it take for the serpent to come up with this scheme? How long did it take, for this to happen? Like, how long were they sitting in the Garden of Eden? Like, was this back to back? Like, I got a lot of questions. I just got a lot of questions. Questions that's probably not going to be answered, which is okay, because that's not the important part of the story. The important part of the story is that they sinned. The scripture just says she gave to her husband with her. So I'm going to assume that he was right there with her. The other reason why I'm going to assume that he was with her is because the scripture also says that Adam was not deceived. So Adam was not deceived, but Eve was deceived. Or people would say that, well, that just goes to show that he wasn't there because he wasn't deceived. I believe the reason why Adam was not deceived, Eve was deceived, is because there is no record of God speaking to Eve and having a relationship with Eve before the curse. The very first record that we have, the very first recording we have of God communicating with Eve is when she was cursed. Okay, so I believe the reason Adam was not deceived is because he knew, like he had a relationship with God. He knew that this was wrong. He had full knowledge that this is wrong. Eve only had word of mouth from her husband, who told her this, and, but there's nothing that says that Eve had this relationship with God and this is what God said to her. I believe that this is something that Adam said to her, and she did not have a relationship with God, but Adam did. So she gives this fruit to her husband, Adam, and Adam eats the fruit. He takes this bite. So Adam eats this fruit, knowing that is wrong. And so Eve and Adam, their eyes were opened when Adam ate the fruit. Not when Eve ate the fruit, but when Adam ate the fruit, their eyes were open and they both saw that they were naked. I'm trying to imagine, just because I'm born the way that I'm born and I wasn't made the way that they were made, I believe that when they saw themselves, before they ate of the fruit, they just thought, oh, this was supposed to be. They're supposed to be naked, Men were never supposed to have shame. But when their eyes are open, they had shame. They felt shame, and they saw that they were naked, and they decided that they're going to cover themselves up, and they're going to make themselves clothes with fig leaves. They're going to make themselves aprons with fig leaves. They heard God walking in the cool of the day. They hid themselves from the Lord, and God was looking for them. He was like, Adam, 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 where are you, Adam? And Adam was like, here I am, Lord. I heard you calling me, and I got scared, and so I hid myself because I was naked. And God was like, well, who told you you were naked? Adam, instead of just going, you know what, Lord? Yeah, I did. I ate of the tree, because he did eat of the tree. Instead of just doing that, Adam said, well, God, the woman that you gave me, she gave me the fruit and I ate it. So immediately Adam decided to just play the blame game, try to play victim. We know people like that. So God said, woman, what are you doing? Did this happen? Why did you eat of the tree? And then she said, the serpent beguiled me. He tricked me, deceived me. God, he fooled me. That serpent, that old trickery serpent, fooled me. And then I ate. God doesn't even ask the serpent what happens at this point. He's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna hop right up into the punishments because I know what happened. So God looks at the serpent and he curses the serpent. And he says that on your belly, you're going to be crawling and slipping around, getting dirt all in your mouth and everything for the rest of your life. So that's just to assume that at one point serpents had legs. So now he's cursed this serpent, and he said to the serpent that he's going to put enmity between you and the woman, between her seed and thy seed. And that is said to be the very first time the coming of Jesus was mentioned, very subtly. So he curses that serpent, and then he moves on to Eve, and he curses Eve, and he says that, he shall multiply thy sorrow. And in sorrow, you're going to give birth. So that just made me think that there was always already going to be sorrow for women. People believe that we wouldn't have been having like cramps or anything like that had it been for Eve and stuff like that. But I don't know, because reading it said he's going to multiply thy sorrow. I believe it wasn't going to be as bad, because when I look at multiply, there has to be something there in order to multiply it, because we know that anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Being a woman, I feel, I feel, the punishment and how great that punishment was for your sorrow to be increased, and for sorrow to be increased through childbirth, and always being afraid that if you're going to survive or not from giving birth naturally and things like that. Because I'll be honest, when I gave birth to my daughter and I gave birth to her naturally, that was a natural birth. I thought I was gonna die. Like, I'm serious. It was that bad. It was literally that bad. So it's like, men don't have to push a baby out of them, and their life is not at risk giving birth to children, you know, and it's just, and they don't have to go through monthly cycles and all that type of stuff. That's just what I believe, because that's what he's been for me. Like, I feel that God has a sweet spot for me specifically. If you don't feel like he has a sweet spot for you, then know that he does. If you're crying out to him, he's gonna listen. I know that we look at Eve like, oh, Eve, I just want to slap her. But you know what? I used to think that, but now I'm just like, you know what? No, I don't want to slap her, because I feel like, because the scripture does say that she was deceived. She was tricked. She didn't mean to. She didn't do it on purpose. You know, like, and I don't think that, but even those things aren't done on purpose, intentionally and stuff like that, that doesn't mean that, you know, you're completely innocent in the situation. It's like, she didn't know that if you ate of a tree, you're gonna surely die. But she trusted that old serpent's word over, which I'm gonna assume was the word of her husband, because that's who she got the information from. You know, like, that's what I believe. So I just assume that she really genuinely did not know. Like, she genuinely did not purposely do this thing, but, you know, lust settled in. Like, you know, the lust of the eyes settled in, and she looked at that fruit, because that's what that serpent did. He planted that seed of lust in her, and it manifested. Then he moved on to curse the man. And he cursed the man, and he said that from the sweat of your brow should work the ground, from the sweat of your brow, and all that type of stuff. Maybe I just don't understand this scripture. So if y'all have a better explanation of that, I'm willing to hear it out. But I personally feel like Adam's punishment was not that great. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I'm just being honest. That's just me being transparent, you know. It's like, I just feel like, you know, Eve had the greater punishment. That's just my opinion. Like, working from the sweat of your brows, like, I just feel like women today in 2020 are doing that. You know, like, so it's like we got double punished. Also, punishment was that from dust you came, dust you will return. So, like, you're gonna die. That was also the punishment, but that's the punishment for everybody. Everybody's gonna die, including women. Women, children, men, everybody dies, and their flesh returns right back to dust, right back from where it came. So God cursed Adam. He cursed serpent. He cursed the serpent. He cursed Eve. He cursed Adam. And I probably left some information out, but y'all know it's in Genesis 2 and Genesis chapter 3. Go read it. God decides that what he's gonna do is he's gonna make clothes for Adam and Eve, because they ain't doing it right. Like, what's some leaves gonna do? So God makes them coats of skins, and he says, behold, the man is come as one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. You know, they're gonna, like, Adam is gonna eat of the tree of life. So we need to get them out of there. So God takes Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. He kicks them out. People say that they were kicked out because they ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But no. They were kicked out because Adam was going to eat of the tree of life. I feel like that part right there is a mystery too. That's something that needs to be revealed to you regarding the tree of life, and why was it a big deal that he would eat from that tree and stuff like that. But it's just like, that's the reason why they were put out of the garden. God puts them out, and he put some cherubims in the garden to watch over the garden to prevent men from going there. And he also puts a flaming sword spinning all around, to protect the tree of life, to keep anybody from eating from that tree. It's not a lot of information on Adam and Eve. Not to me, because I have a lot of questions that probably won't get answered. And I'm okay with some questions not being answered. There's mysteries that's you're just not gonna have the answer to everything, and I'm completely okay with that. If y'all want me to tell more Bible stories, let me know, and I'll do it. If you have any suggestions of any Bible stories you want me to look into, let me know. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and stay tuned for the next episode.